of God, human beings are the worst creations of God. So that is why we don't care. Anyways, I came from that village. I went to the police. The police also didn't know. Multiple incidents happened after that. The question was in my head all the time. I went to my local PS, I asked, and everybody used to laugh at me. Because for them, everybody was concerned about riots, rape, dacoity. Nobody cared missing children. So it took me at least like around 8 to 9 years to understand what is trafficking. The first thing that I did was I met a very senior officer, and I used to constantly ask him what happens to missing children. I was told, visit railway stations. So the first encounter was when I visited a railway station, and I see a woman who is from Rajasthan sitting in that railway station and telling me that she has come for work to Northeast. So that was kind of a, very big information for me, because people grow from Northeast and East India to North for jobs. Why is somebody from North coming to East India saying that she wants some employment? So anyways, I asked her. She didn't tell me. I did not know what is trafficking. When I was in my college in Delhi, there was this girl who started following me for 3 days. She was following me, literally like stalking me, continuously following me. Finally, I caught hold of her collar and told her. So I caught hold of her collar and asked her what happened. Bhai, tum mera picha kyun kar rahi ho? And then she looked at me, she left. 3 months later also she was looking at me and she left. So I always observed that there is something this girl wants to tell me, but she's scared. So I was in my second year of college. She was in her first year of college. Anyways, after another 3 months, she told me, I want to tell you something. I said, what? Then she told me, the language that you speak, no? What language is that? So I said, it's Bangla. And she's like, this language is spoken by a lot of women in my village. And I'm like, in your village? I said, it's okay. Bengalis are everywhere. She's like, no, you don't understand. I come from a very remote village in Haryana. Very, very remote village in Haryana. So I told her, can you take me to your village? She's like, no, I can't take you. Because somehow she must have got to know that I am curious. I try to find information. She didn't. After pulling a lot of strings, I finally ended up going to a village. And in that village, I see 50 women sitting. Everybody dressed in North Indian attire, heads covered. And I was like, the person who took me, I started asking that person, why did you get me? These women are all from North India. She was like, no, you speak a Bengali line. No, you speak. So I just said to all the women there, kemon acho, just this. From the back, one girl started crying and told me, Didi, tumi Paschim Bangor theke? And she had a broken Bengali and Haryanvi accent. And I told her, no, I'm a Bengali, but I am from Assam. She told me, Didi, I am from Nadia. You know Nadia, right? Yes. And the story that she told me made me realize that, we all are so privileged. We always want an iPhone. We always want this. But we don't realize that humans are nothing just like, just commodities. So what happened? She was, when I met her, she was just 18. She told me when she was 12, she went to this Boi Mela. She went to the Boi Mela, and what happened was, in that particular Boi Mela, she had 50 pies with her. And she wanted to eat a red ice cream, Lal Borof. And the ice cream person had Doodh Borof also. So she wanted the Doodh Borof, but that was 2 rupees. She didn't have the money. So there was a guy who was observing her for a long time, continuously. And this particular boy finally told her that, if you want to eat milk ice cream, I can give you 2 rupees. Then she's like, why will you give me? He's like, no, you want to eat, you eat. So they became friends. That point of time, Yama was very popular, okay? He used to take her a ride. He used to give her a bump. I think in remote Bengal, people call bread as born. So she got exposed to a life which she could never expose herself to with this guy. Finally, one day this guy was like, let's go to Delhi. And she's like, I'm just 13, I can't go to Delhi. He's like, na, chalo na, let's go. She convinced her somehow. And she said that I have never seen trains in my life, she told. But he was like, you come. She went to her local Choraha where one person came who was not this boy, somebody else. Then she came to Nodias, that railway station. There was somebody else. Then she came to Shialda. somebody else. Finally, he met this guy in Howrah. 4 people. By this time, there are 4 handlers, okay? Ek ke baad ek, nobody knows anybody. In Howrah, she met this guy. She had some drink. After having the drink, she just told me, when I opened my eyes, I find myself in a huge, like, box of hay. And there was bher and bakri beside me. She told me. And she started knocking the door. And somebody opened the door. And that person who opened the door said that you are our wife. Matlab, you are my wife. You are our bahu. And then she was very excited. She was thinking that that's the same person. And then finally, when the truth came, the truth was she was married off for some 1,000 rupees to a 50-year-old man. So this is the reality I'm talking to you about. Okay, I'll tell you stories. You are thinking, no, that it happens with only poor people. No. Recently, we rescued somebody whose father was a gazetted officer. Okay, so I'm just telling you guys not to make you scared. I also don't know a lot of things about technology. Like maybe AI I don't know about. But it will not affect if I don't know. Because it's not directly impacting me. But if you don't know about this kind of issues, it will impact you. I don't know how many of you know the situation that's happening in our neighboring country, right now. You cannot imagine. The highest affected will be Bengal, Tripura, and Assam, because they are the border states. And then you will see the problem. Because हमको लगता है ना कि हमारा problem नहीं है. So I will just tell you more detail about it. I have a presentation. So these 3 children, they are survivors' children, okay? Survivors. People whom I have rescued. These 3 kids. I can't expose their parents' faces. These are 3 kids. I will just tell you. Okay. These are some of the things that I am going to discuss with you. One is how human trafficking impacts individuals, how it impacts our economy. We think it doesn't affect our economy. It really affects our economy. The NCRB data, we don't have any NCRB data, okay? If you Google, you will not find any NCRB data. National Crime Records Bureau data, you will not find. I don't know how many of you will end up becoming journalists. But please note that if you don't have data, you cannot publish. That's the problem. So you will not have any NCRB data. No data says that there is trafficking in our country. Because the moment you say there is trafficking, it puts the country and the government in a very bad light. So you will see violence, things like violence, genocide, rape, they are most unreported. Because the moment you report about them, it shows that there is a negligence, there is no reporting. So here NCRB data also, if you go and see, the last data I think is of 2020. Uske baad there was no data. Then which are the source states? By the way, let me tell you, it feels very sad to say, but out of all the areas which is a source state, Bengal is one. Bengal is extremely vulnerable state, and the kind of rescues that I have done over the years, I think out of them the highest number is from Bengal. Highest. So then I'll tell you about destinations. I'm talking about trafficking in numbers. These are some of the things that I will be talking about. Now, somebody told me what is human trafficking. A lot of people think that, this is just a definition, okay? This is a definition where it is said that, people are trafficked. A lot of you think, प्यार में पड़ जाते हैं, so they get trafficked. It is very easy to say that प्यार में पड़ जाते हैं. You don't understand, the main problem is vulnerability. You know what is vulnerability? Emotional vulnerability. Now I'm getting cases of people, those who don't fit into the category of good-looking, good-looking girl or a good-looking or a handsome boy, they are getting trafficked. Why? Can anybody tell me why? Yeah, so what happens, see, we are never satisfied with the way we look, and it is not about us, it's about the society. The society, what is the description of a beautiful girl? Tall, fair and beautiful, right? Even now. Jitna bhi hum gender equality bole na, it's in paper, okay? Actually, gender equality doesn't work. All these things of, I am fine, of marrying somebody who is average looking, no. Boys always look for good looking girls. Girls always look for a boy who has a fat package. Always. That's the reality of the world. That is how it happens. I have had case studies, I have done research. They will date guys But then when it comes to marriage, they will always see somebody who has a house and a car and a fat package. That's how the society is. So why am I talking about this? Because recently there are 3 new things that have come. One is mental health, due to which people are getting trafficked. Second is domestic violence, due to which people are getting trafficked. Third is this peer pressure. सबको डॉक्टर बनना है, सबको इंजीनियर बनना है. So recently we nabbed somebody who was an engineer who was involved in trafficking of girls. How? I'll tell you. Not directly, indirectly. Before Corona, his salary was 1 lakh. Post Corona, his salary is 50,000. So his responsibilities are same, but पैसा तो नहीं मिल रहा है. So what do traffickers do? इनका ना lobby है. They are 1,000 times more smarter than what we think. So वो लोग क्या करते हैं? They get the data. They get the detail of किसका salary कितना है क्या, and then what they say, they will not say that you are trafficking a girl. They will just say that ki call 10 girls and try to, groom them in, we like you, we are in love with you. Instagram you will see a lot of messages you get, no? And that's how their thing is that aap is ladki ko get this girl in this place. And if you can just get this girl in this place, we'll give you 5,000 rupees. They don't know, na, they are trafficking girls. They just know that ki humko ek ladki se baat karna, I have to talk to a girl and I have to get this girl in a place. So that is how trafficking has increased over the years in different other ways. Now, a lot of us know that there is so much of unemployment issues. We know, right? How many of us, we are doing, everybody, a lot of you have done mass comm. I'll tell you, my husband also did mass comm from MICA, okay? But now he is he is into UX writing. Because he was with a very big, he was a foreign correspondent, he was posted abroad, and he was doing really well, but he did not have the freedom to write. Okay, so he left journalism. That's how the situation of journalism has become in some parts of completely every part of our country. My friend who was the heading Huffington Post was, it suddenly stopped its service in India. So whatever. So I'm just telling you that, unemployment at rise, one. Second is that earlier what used to happen, we used to have only thousands. So earlier we had thousands of people who were getting 80%. Now we have lakhs of students who are getting 80%. Right? So do you realize how situation is changing? One. Second is poverty. So much of recession, so much of people who are poor. How many of you have visited remote Bengal? How many of you? 90% people don't visit remote Bengal. The way I have visited Bengal, Sundarbans is hyped again. Not every problem is in Sundarban, by the way. Sundarban is too hyped. How many of you have visited remote Doas? How many of you have visited remote Sundarbans, South 24 Parganas, North 24 Parganas, Canning? See, these are places where you will see actual crime. So if any of you wants to do journalism, like actual journalism, research, please visit this area. Take a train from Sialda to Hasnabad, pay 10 rupees, 15 rupees. Trust me, you will learn so much going there. Why I'm telling you? Because 70% of my relatives are from Bengal, Kolkata. But until I talked to them about this issue, they were not aware. They are in their own chamber, echo chamber, Because, so when I started talking about trafficking in Bengal and trafficking in other places, people used to abuse me initially. Now they invite me, that's a different thing, but initially they used to abuse me because according to them, I was tarnishing the name of a state. No, I'm not tarnishing the name of a state. I'm giving just a reality check of what is happening in a particular state. So here the girls, these are all survivors of trafficking. 2-3 have consented to give me their photos. So I have. All these girls have been trafficked by either their mamar chele, or their jetur chele, or their mashi, or their bodhi's bone. And this is real stories I'm talking to you about. If any one of you wants to accompany me to any of my source area, you are most welcome. And then you will realize that this is not fake thing, this is actually a reality. So these are all the girls. And I have thousands of girls these days who are trafficked by their own relatives. And then a lot of you will think that, how relative is, why they are trafficking. No. When you don't have food on your plate, no. You don't think what is legal, what is illegal. You think that I want my next meal. I don't care that whether my relative is being sold somewhere or put into slavery. So that is the thing. Now these are some of the purposes I wrote. I don't know how many of you know. You can Google, anybody knows the concept, because these are common. I want to ask, anybody knows what is debt bondage? For example, my grandfather has taken 1 lakh loan from a zamindar. Okay. My father is also clearing that loan. I am also clearing that loan. That loan is clear, but we don't know that the loan is clear because I am not educated. Now I will tell you an example of not just trafficking. I'll talk to you about modern slavery. Anybody knows what is modern slavery? A lot of modern slavery happens in front of us. Have you seen that rickshaw puller जो हाथ से अपना रिक्शा खींच के ले जाता है? That is modern slavery, you know. It's a very subtle modern slavery. We don't realize. That's one. Second, I will tell you an incident. So I was in Bombay after a rescue operation. I was coming on my way, and there were kids, okay, very small kids on the road. And this was in Kurla. You know Kurla? I don't know how many of you have visited Bombay. So there were kids. They were stitching the button. That button, no? That hole in that button. And the kids were telling me, for one shirt, they get 5 rupees. This is 2023 I'm talking to you about. I'm not talking to you about some slave, like Stone Age. So, the wage, so many maid servants, like 4th grade staff, 3rd grade staff that we have, lot of them, most of them are victims of modern slavery. Because we don't pay them the wage they deserve. So that is the reason they come under the category of modern slavery. You will not believe the number of South Asians going to Europe, UK for employment. 40 to 50% end up being toilet cleaners. सुनने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है ना विदेश. It feels very good. I'm telling you, trust me. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Donkey. You have seen the movie Donkey? That is actual reality, I'm telling you. I have seen people, I have rescued people like that. I have seen people paying 7 lakh rupees to an agent who wants to put him for employment. Like for example, so there are South Asian peoples have very high demand abroad because so you can pay them less. Like for example, if you hire an American, you have to pay them in dollars. But you hire an Indian or a whatever, Bangladeshi or whoever, you can pay them less. So there is a cheap labor ka bahut demand hai. So there are like informations like we want 100 laborers. And from 100, 70 will go legally, 30 will go illegally. And the 30 that goes illegally, what they do? Recently we rescued a man who was in Kuwait for 5 years. He was taken for employment, he did not tell. He was illegally confined there. And the sponsor who took him used to make him drive for 18 hours a day. He ran away from that sponsor and he was in the desert for 5 years cutting fish. And this is, yeah, tell me. This is an information that somebody gave me. Right now also we are trying to find somebody. We can't say this person is traveled from some part of East India to a country which we shouldn't go. And now he is in such a big mess, and then he has got involved in a drug mafia gang. Okay, and we are not able to take that person out because it's an intra-country issues. So the reason I'm telling you all this, all of you, this story is not to scare you, but to just make you people understand that aspire to go abroad, definitely. Think of going to all this, Columbian Journalism School and all of this school, definitely. But please be sure the channel with which you are going. So many messages you get, so many ads, so many placement agencies. Student going abroad and ending up in this kind of scams is the highest in the world. So please be very, very aware when you are applying, who is the agent with whom you are going, understanding the college, having conversations, because once you are out of the country, it's very difficult to track you down and bring you back. So that is the reason I told this. Otherwise, I would have not bought this topic. Then comes skin trafficking. It's little triggering, but I will tell you. some parts of our country, skin trafficking happens. It's a little bit trigger. I won't go much detail, but then there is a very huge demand for South Asian skin. I don't know if you know that, South Asian skin, because South Asian skins are very soft, they are very lustrous, and despite the complexion being dark, the skin quality is much good compared to other skins. So there are different types of cosmetologic industries. Then these industries that you are doing this plastic surgeries, they poach skin and take it. I'm talking about humans also. Human skins are taken for enlarging different organs of the body and all, and it's highly in demand. It's an undersearched topic. Nobody talks much about it, but we get a lot of information about skin trafficking, which is happening, and a lot of skin is being trafficked to the West from this part of the world. Then comes organ harvesting. So I think prostitution, everybody knows. World's oldest profession. I recently came after doing I was in for 5 days, I was in a red light area in Bengal. Not the popular one that everybody knows. The popular one is Sonagachi. I didn't go there. I went to an area which is less researched. I spent 5 days with 100 sex workers, and almost every second sex worker told me that they were trafficked. We say, no, people do sex work by choice. Definitely they do. I don't deny it. But then the section that I met, everybody says that they were trafficked. They told me that, nobody wants to sleep around with so many people. So that is the initial thing that I had. Then comes bride trafficking. How many of you know what is bride trafficking? Anybody knows what is bride trafficking? You know about this thing of skewed sex ratio in our country? Like, for example, you have different states, right? We have this female infanticide and female feticide. You know about this PC-PNDT Act? Go and Google out today about PC-PNDT Act. Of course, the IPC and everything has been changed to new acts now. In that act, you cannot disclose the gender of the fetus. But in a lot of states in India, there was a point when fetus identity was disclosed, and then they were, told, the family was told that this is a girl. So for generations, infanticide and feticide happened, where girls were put in hot water, like multiple things were done with them, hot, milk, and then they were killed. So a generation of girls were removed. So when there is no women in the society, how the society is? Can anybody tell me, if there is no women in the society, just men in the society, how the society will be? I'm not talking about progeny, future generation. I'm not talking about that. The society will become more and more hard. So if you cross NH1, no? The moment you go to these places, no? You cross India, you cross different countries, no? Afghanistan, all of this, no? What is the situation of women? No voice, no school, no agency. Why? Because we always consider that, women are subservient to man. That's how the society looks at women, right? Like, we are always born to what to do? Serve. And what are men born to be? Providers. So what happens in bride trafficking? Girls are taken to states where there is less girls and married off. They are made to work like a slave in the morning and tortured at night. So that's a huge number of bride trafficking happens in our country even now. Even now I have girls rescued who are like, Matrabhumi movie. Did you see Matrabhumi movie? That actually happens. Matrabhumi is a movie where there was no women in that particular village, and somehow they got to know that there is a woman in one house, and they got her married to 5 sons. Like this whole concept of the Draupadi system. And then it was like the whole village. So it was a mess. Okay. So that is kind of thing that still happens. But because we are in this part of the world, and East India is famous for, women, giving women's agency, women talking. Bengali girls are considered so bold, no? वैसे तो हम बदनाम हैं. हर जगह पे Bengalis बदनाम है. I still remember my first rescue where I was asked in the Delhi red light area, Madam, आप Bengali हैं? First question. And then I was like, I didn't understand, okay. I was like, why is he asking me? And then I realized why he asked me, because we are very outspoken. And I consider it a good thing. But we are not looked in a very good way in other parts of the country. Like we are considered a very, we do jadoo tona and all this bullshit that they say, no? So our image outside is very bad. Why? Because we are headstrong women. And same with Bengali men also, their image also is not very considered very good. So that is how, but this is one society, okay? You did not see the poverty in Bengal. The poverty is another level. Like people don't have bathrooms. People don't have food. People are fighting for 200 rupees sari. So that group is actually trafficked. That is where the bride trafficking happens. Then comes begging. Does anybody, have you ever heard of begging mafia? You know what happens in begging mafia? So what happens in begging mafia? So there are groups that operate. So what do the groups do? For example, they will just pick you up. They will not, if you are from Kolkata, they will not keep you in Kolkata. They will take to another state where you don't know the language, don't know the person. And then they will train you, groom you. And then they will divide you in sections. Like for example, if you don't have eyes, this much of money you can earn. If you don't have legs, this much of money you can earn. If you don't have, if you are completely normal, then this much. These are like targets, marketing, na? So that kind of things happen. So that is begging mafia. Then comes organ harvesting. How many of you know? The reason I started the organization was because of an organ harvesting thing. Now I'll tell you the story. So I was in North India, 2020. I did not want to open an organization, okay, because I'm an activist. And activists are very, activists running an organization is considered because we are very strong about our opinions, no? We are very strong about our views. But I had to change my activism and come to the level of running an organization because of a story. So 2020, March, I do a rescue. 8 girls are rescued from a red light area in North India, and I ended up going to a hospital to do their medical examination. When I do their medical examination, I see a big commotion on the next room. A lot of people come to me and tell me that, madam, यहाँ पे बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं जिनको कोरोना हुआ है. And I'm like, okay, corona तो सबको हो रहा है ना? Everybody is happening corona. After 2 days, we get to know that most of the children have died. Okay. And then we have informers. So we put stringers and we found out that, under the garb of corona, children's organs were taking out. Because, for example, if you tell me that I have corona, will you touch me? Will not, right? So my body is put in a bag and I'm disposed of. Now who cares what is inside the bag? So a lot of informers told me, the organs were taken out and then they were sold off. So then I started investigating, and then I got a huge detail of how organ trafficking is happening. I wrote to a lot of organizations across the country. I wanted to do a PIL, but I couldn't because there was no evidence. People vanished in thin air. Families who said that their children had died went missing. There was no trace. That is the time I decided that, I should start an organization. It was a tough call. I had corona 5 times myself. Multiple things happened. The kind of threats I faced, but that was one of the reasons that I started the organization. Then I think I have told you about all the kinds of trafficking. So this photo is of a Didi. She makes 600 bricks a day. We rescued her. Okay. She makes 600 bricks a day, and you know how much she gets? Can anybody tell me how much money she gets? Around 100 she gets. She has eczema, she has skin infections, and this is an incident of not much long. This is an incident of 2023. I will be showing you all new cases. So that is the level of, here I have mentioned also who are the at-risk groups. Women, and in children, unhoused youth. You all know about the crisis that's happening in the Northeast, right? The ethnic cleansing and all. Who suffers? Whenever a war happens, natural disaster happens, who suffers? Women, children, youth. Because they can be brainwashed. Women can be raped. Children can be abducted. I have had huge cases of children being trafficked when any earthquake happens. Like for example, you saw such a disaster in Kerala. Now you will see the number of trafficking that happens. Because we are vulnerable. मेरे पास घर नहीं है. What are the 3 basic needs? Food, clothing, shelter. When I don't have these three things, what I will do? I am vulnerable. So what will my vulnerability lead me to? My vulnerability will lead me to people who are ready to take, that my vulnerability into something where they will get profit. So that's how, see, I have mentioned about all the at-risk groups. Refugees. We have so many refugees in our country, right? Have you ever visited a refugee camp? Please you visit, I'm telling you. You are in a very interesting field of journalism and sociology, trust me. Visit refugee camps, and if you are able to understand the problems, then you can write a research paper on it. Then comes abuse addicts. All the girls I have rescued, most of them have told me that they used to take drugs and they used to take Royal Stag. I'll show you a picture of a girl who told me that she used to drink 2 Royal Stag one day. Why, because she used to tell me, if I don't drink, how will I get physically intimate with so many men? Because if we are in a normal state of mind, it's not possible, right? So she used to tell me she used to take 2 bottles of Royal Stag every day, and she was constantly drugged. So you can understand, and she had become an abuse addict. Then specially abled people. I have rescued a lot of girls who were, dyslexic, who had a little bit of Down syndrome. I think no? Specially abled people. Because unko bewakoof banana is very easy. So they were that. Then people displaced due to natural calamities. Amphan, Ayla, floods, any crisis. War, natural disaster, unemployment. Any vulnerability will lead into trafficking of people. Any vulnerability. Day before yesterday, I met somebody from Sector 5. I think you know Sector 5, right? The girl says how she got into a wrong hand. She's an educated girl, okay? She had completed a master's by getting into chain business. Chain business, na? Matlab, give 10,000 rupees, put 10 other people. And she was trafficked to Chennai. Imagine. And with her, I met another girl who told me how she used to go to pubs and her own friend had trafficked her. Own friend. She mixed something in her food. Why? See, I am not here to scare you people, nothing like that. But why? Because there are people who lure that, tum isko leke aao, tumko ek phone mil jayega, iPhone mil jayega. Craze hai na iPhone ka. So I am not telling you that, you doubt your friend. No, please don't think like that. Don't doubt your friend. But I am just telling you that, be a little bit alert. Where we are going, with whom you are going, who is calling me, where is my message going, what am I putting in social media. Ab to sabse zyada trafficking to Instagram se ho raha hai. And we are not able to find anybody. One important thing, whenever you get your document photo stat done, please trash it. Wherever you go. Because with one ID, you can take 8 to 10 SIMs in our country. And don't know, identity theft is the biggest theft in the world. Bahar, India ke bahar koi gold jewelry nahi leta. Like I met a very senior law enforcement officer from the 3 forces, no? We have army, navy and all. And I was told that if that ID is stolen and given to some other country, it will be bought for 2 crores. Because showing that law enforcement officer's ID, the person will get access to all the intelligence information of our country. So can you imagine, one ID can be sold for 1 crore. So this person who met me told me, I take care of it more than my own life. And you know this whole concept of court martial and all of this, right? So you can understand what might happen. So these are some of the stages, okay? पहले होता है recruiting, trafficking में. Recruit का मतलब किसी को पता है? Anybody knows क्या बोलते हैं पर what is recruiting? Huh? Hiring somebody, okay. Then comes luring. It happens no, that job is, ওই জবটা অনেক ভালো. So there is this girl last year told me, Didi, I have been told, ওই চাকরিটা খুব ভালো, তোকে বাড়ি দেবে, গাড়ি দেবে, and all this, and then she got a luring, this is luring. Then taking you to pub for a day. What happened, I'll tell you. There was a trend a couple of years back, because you all are much younger to me. There was this trend that, northeastern girls were taken to Delhi and every day they were sent to pubs. Matlab to enjoy ki, okay, paisa de diya 10 din. Now these girls got into the habit of pubbing. Fir they are told ki ab hum paisa nahi de sakte. So then these girls were forced to do prostitution. Do you realize what happened? Matlab, I tell you ki I am giving you money for 10 days to eat wherever, some big restaurant, 5-star. So what happens? You get into the habit of it, right? So you can't get out of the habit. Now what you will do? So then they ended up getting into prostitution. I have heard evidences of so many girls who told me, ki Didi, that is how we got into prostitution. Because lifestyle. You come into a lifestyle. So that is luring. Then comes grooming. Now grooming me, I'll tell you what happens. I don't know how many of you know that Oriental girls and Oriental boys are very much in demand. Oriental, people, those who have Northeastern features. Very highly in demand. So there used to be a placement agency in North India where girls who were from Northeast were groomed to look like Malaysians, Koreans, like little bit of facelifting, cutting of hair, walking style and all. So if it's an Indian Northeastern girl, it will be sold for 50,000. But if it is like a Korean or a Japanese, it will be 5 lakhs. So that kind of thing used to happen a lot. So that is grooming. Okay, you are groomed to be, to not exactly be superficial, but not showing your actual identity. Their names used to be changed. Multiple things. Their food habits used to be changed. They were told to eat with chopsticks. So this kind of things used to happen. Then comes manipulation. Manipulation, you are continuously telling this person, that this place where you're staying is so poor, so shabby. The place I'll take you is a very beautiful place. And this happens with boys also, okay? I'll tell you about the number of boys. Now talking to girls, I'll tell you the horrific details of boys. So all the boys, please don't think that it happens with girls also, and also other genders. This LGBTQI genders, a huge. Then comes exploitation. Now why did I tell you the stages? You know why? Because until and unless you reach the destination, you will never know that you are trafficked. Matlab aap big gaye hai. Matlab we have been taken from here to there. So the entire process, you are in a dream. You are in a beautiful, Maryland. Okay, my life is so beautiful. I am going to Delhi. I will be earning this much of money. But the hard fact hits when we go to the exploitation level. Now, exploitation level, I'll tell you about a girl. These are some of the things that happen to a trafficked person's life. One is no restriction and movement. So I'll tell you, in the month of January, I had got a call about a girl, and it seems she ran away from somewhere. I can't tell you which place, but it's in East India. And then she told me what happened. She was going to school, a 4-wheeler comes, pushes her on the side, grabs her and picks her up in the 4-wheeler. And then she's kept somewhere in East India only, in a 4x5 feet room, chota room. And she's beaten up a lot. And she's been given some liquid to drink. What liquid, God knows. And she had all boils in her body because of the chemical liquid. And then she said that there was a seal put in her hand. And when she came to me, I did not understand. Seal matlab kya? Matlab, hum to kapdon mein seal lagate hai na? What was this seal? We did investigation. And we found out that there are seals which gives information about the country that they will be sold. Okay. So this girl told me, then we broke the racket, but we couldn't find all the girls. The girls were telling me, so girls are picked, made to consume this chemical, then men come and do whatever, physical exploitation with them. And suddenly they are picked up, seeing the seal. कि आप इसको किस country में ले जाना है? Okay, so first is restriction. So one is she was restricted from moving out. Second comes she was isolated to break her mental strength. A lot of us get a lot of mental strength because we have our friends, family, right? So complete isolation, which will force you to give into that crime. I have a friend, she's a survivor trafficking. Her spouse had died. She's a big writer now. She's in US, Marcela Loiza. Her story was so painful. So her spouse died and she had a child. and she was told she wanted to do medical help for her child. She asked for $200. She took $200. The person who gave her $200 said that she took $20,000. So she was sold to Japan. And the trauma she told me, I don't want you guys to know the trauma. But the trauma she went through, now she's a big writer. Her book has been published. That's why I'm telling you her story. 2 years she was in Japan. And she was telling me this whole thing of restriction, isolation and financial control. Like whatever she earned after doing this, nothing was given on her hand. Everything was taken from her. Then comes intimidation. She was continuously intimidated by everybody around her. Then the physical and the sexual violence. In India, people don't torture that much because Indians still have that empathy. But in West, it's not like that. Okay, we go to so many clubs, no. So many people go to so many strip clubs and all, no. So many people see so much of pornography, right? Many people think that, whatever the women is doing or whatever the man is doing, it is by choice. But believe me, I have had interactions with so many people who come to all these ads and all, no? They have told me that it is something that involves a lot of intimidation, mental manipulation, exploitation. So that's what I'm telling you about how they are also exploited. Nobody would want to be in camera doing all of this. Then comes drug and alcohol addictions. Everybody has alcohol or drug addictions. So this is a place I work, okay? This entire family lives by making this boat. So here I have written why trafficking still exists, why it's a $1 billion industry. First is, it is built on the economic principle on supply and demand. You know, na? Simple economics. I want biscuits to banega. So that's why trafficking is continuing. And it is the easiest way of earning an income. Why, I'll tell you, I met a trafficker a couple of years back and he had trafficked 25 girls, okay? And he told me, off record, and I asked him that, bhai, क्यों करते हो ऐसा? क्या मिलता है? He was like, मुझे तो पता ही नहीं होता ना क्या होता है लड़कियों के साथ या लड़कों के साथ. Because he just sense, he doesn't know. And he says it's easy income. And he told me, madam, बहुत easy income है. Then I asked him, कैसे easy income है? बोल रहे, मैडम देखिए, आपको कितना तनख्वाह मिलता है? He asked me. And I told him, okay, this much, some thousands. He's like, madam, मुझे एक लड़की का 50,000 मिलता है. Okay. So, according to him, he is not thinking whether it is a good thing or a bad thing. He is thinking, मेरे को मिलता है. And then I was like, but तुमको feel नहीं होता कि you don't feel it that you are selling somebody. He's like, I don't see the exploitation that the girl go through. I just give her to somebody. So that is the reason, you see, the reason of supply and demand. And then a lot of us pay a lot of money for commercial sex. That is the reason, you see, the market is very profitable. Like for example, I'll tell you, I have met a lot of sex workers and then they are like, we do it out of choice. Absolutely okay. Well respected. But a lot of people ask me, like yesterday also somebody was asking me whether it is legal or illegal. It's not about whether it's legal or illegal. For example, if I'm above 18 and if I do this by my own choice, nobody can stop me. Because it's my body, my rules, right? So all the people that are there, they generally say that most are adults. So there is no way you can say that, this is an illegal crime. So that is the reason, the market becomes highly profitable. All these things I have shared here, traffickers seek to capitalize on this market by manipulating and luring victims to meet buyers' demands. So I'll tell you, there was this myth. There was this myth that was going on. I'll finish it shortly. There was this myth that was going on. If HIV positive men have physical intimacy with virgin girls, their HIV will be cured. For the longest time. For the longest time there was this myth, and so huge number of girls were being exploited. So that's why I'm telling you, luring victims to meet buyer's demand. That's the third. Then comes, victims have a very emotional attachment with their traffickers, like falling in love or giving something, which will further lure them. Then comes, the victims and survivors faced stigma. Stigma, you know, na? How many of you read any news? How many people do sensitive reporting? Tell me. Now I have been called by a lot of colleges to do sensitive reporting. Most people are sensationalizing. Now new podcasters have come, na? I have not gone to any Bengali podcast. Okay, so I just went to one Bengali podcast. That was also because I was on a rescue, and this guy put my photo, posted 2 red light areas name next to my photo. I never said about those red light areas. Okay, and the abuses I got over phone, and I called him up. I was like, why did you put my photo? Mane, keno tumi amar photo ta okhane lagiecho? Na, madam, emni lagiechi. I was like, I will just put a FIR against you. Usko hatao. Everything is sensationalism aajkal. Jitna logo ka trauma. See, reporting, you see so many news channels we have, no? सबसे ज्यादा न्यूज चैनल कौन दिखता है? जो लोगों की दर्द को ज्यादा दिखाता है, right? But that is not what a ethical journalist should do. You will not believe so many survivors have beaten me earlier in my career because I used to work with organizations where reporting used to be 10 times more grievous compared to what somebody went through. So you will see all the work that I do, all the work that my organization does. Till now, we don't have that much of funding, but till now, not a single survivor has come on camera. Because we believe in the concept of not selling somebody's vulnerability and getting profit out of it. Because you are students of mass communication, journalism, socialism, one thing you realize, you cannot get profit or satisfaction by traumatizing another person. And that is what is happening in media now. So that is the reason a lot of media houses have been totally boycotted by me. Earlier, there is a lot of crime patrol stories have come, okay, of all the lot of rescues that I have done. I'll send to Arindam Da and he will share with you. All the stories, there were some truth, but they made a lot of masala out of it, you know. And that is wrong. मतलब आपके साथ अगर एक बार rape हुआ है, so say one. Don't say many. So that is how stories have been twisted. See, these are all the survivors that have been rehabilitated. Okay, they are all leading good lives. One is a nurse and they are... So my thing to show you this photo is not to have sympathy on them, but to say that, you know, almost all of us at one point of time might have gone through some kind of abuse. Irrespective of whether you are a boy or a girl. Happens. Some relative might have touched us inappropriately. I did a workshop with 100 boys in Goa, and out of the 100 boys, 95 told me that they were sexually exploited. Boys, not girls, okay? And then when I asked them, they told me by their aunts, by their relatives, while giving them bath, all of them. Boys don't say about abuse. Because if boys say about abuse, people will be like, you know, ye ladka hai, iske sath kisne aisa kar diya? But they have no, like, and then you are a boy, you can't cry. You are a boy, you have to be an engineer, you have to be a doctor, you can't be a cook. I have had my own, in my own families I have seen. You can't be a cook. Tu ki main iki, tu ran bhi keno. Happens, right? So that's what, that's social conditioning. So I'm just telling you, so all the survivors here, they have gone through something. To everybody out here, whoever has faced some kind of abuse, irrespective of your gender, please note it is not your fault. Do not have self-pity. Bhai, mere saath kyun ho gaya? Right now, we are doing an extensive campaign with all the journalists we know, saying changing narrative. Don't say she was raped. Say he raped her or they raped her. So focus should not be on the victim. Focus should be on the perpetrator. So that is what is ethical reporting. This is all I have said to you. So this is one survivor, okay? She does all this work. She has 4 husbands, okay? Her husband has 4 wives. She can't leave her husband because according to her, if she leaves her husband, she will be teared apart by her community. Because, you know, Vermilion is a very big social security, you know, na? So I meet a lot of sex workers who say ki Didi, hum to sindoor lagate hain. Because when I don't put sindoor, people look at me in a different way. When I put sindoor, people look at me in a different way. See, a lot of women I meet, especially, they say a lot of them have got married because of social security. I'm not generalizing, but I'm saying how the world looks at it. This is the data you will see. Har state mein do hai. I get 10 calls every day. The NCRB data, it is very small, but you Google today NCRB data, National Crime Records Bureau. Every state says that there is no trafficking, there is nothing. But I get 10 calls every day, so you can understand. Underreported. Nobody lodges FIR. These are some of the states. These are some of the things that happens frequently. Northeastern state, very famous for prostitution, forced marriage, labor trafficking. West Bengal, everything is there in Bengal. Every red light I have gone, I have found a Bengali girl. And it is so heartbreaking for me because, I'm never able to understand, and that is where I realize that, so much work has to be done. Then comes Orissa, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. By the way, all of you think that Hyderabad is a IT city, na? Bahut zyada hota hai. The first girl I rescued was from Guntur. She used to take the stem out of the chili. 500 chili, she used to take out stem. She was 50 rupees she used to go. She was sold by her own Masi in Delhi red light area. That was the first girl I had rescued, 2011. So please don't think Andhra Pradesh. Now I'm talking about Orissa. We know so much of development has gone, no? 2022, I visit Orissa. I am in a particular place and there is this lady who jumps in the water to take bath. 1 hour, she's not coming out. I asked the question to the person next to me. This lady is not coming out. What is? Did she die? That person was like, "Nahi madam, iske paas sari nahi hai." Jab pani mein koodi na, when she jumped to take water, she put the washed sari to dry on top of the stone. Okay? So she was waiting for that sari to dry. So sari was not getting dry, so she was in water. I'm talking to you 2022, okay? And then I was in a, fatpat, that fatpat they have, no? I was in a fatpat, I went, I bought 2 saris and gave her. This is the hard reality I'm trying to tell you. Then comes Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. I don't know how many of you know about the extreme. And by the way, let me tell you, out of all the rescues I have done, I'll finish it off. Out of all the rescue I have done, the hardest rescues are the labor rescues from houses. And the most heinous people are people, those who earn 5-figure, 6-figure salaries. Horrible people. The more rich they are, the more horrible they are. I will show you a picture. Just see the picture for a second and then I will change. Destination. I think you know about source, transit, destination. Do you know about source, transit and destination? Source is place from where people are procured. Transit is the travel. Destination is the place where they are sold off. These are the data. I will just show you one picture. Where is that picture? This is a girl I rescued. It is just for your image. You cannot see this. I will not tell you what happened with her because you will not be able to eat then. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat for 15 days. I was on liquid diet. Just that we took out maggots from her head. Just one thing I will tell you. So this is a reality. This is actually an incident. This is one of the most terrific rescues in my career that I have done. These are all the cases, okay? All the cases that I have rescued. A 58-year-old woman who was married to a 25-year-old man. Okay. So I get a call one day. A 58-year-old woman married to a 24-year-old man because he was mentally disabled. And then when we go to rescue, the entire village was very excited. They were like, okay, aur ek ladki aa gayi hai. Okay, seeing me. And then finally we rescued the women. And when we said that this woman is 58, everybody was laughing. They were like, nahi, par ye to choti hai, she's small, no? So what happens? East Indian women are chota, na? North Indian people are tall, so they were not believing. But then I had to tell her that inka khud ka, her own son is 26. Still they were not. They tore my, sleeves and all. But finally we could rescue. There is a case still going on of a 4-month-old baby who was rescued. So we did a decoy. We did a decoy where I dressed up as a maid. And we had a suitcase of counterfeit currencies, dummy currencies. And we rescued a 4-year-old child who was going to be sold off in Middle East. Okay, and now it's been 10 years. I'm still going for witness. So you know the law and order. I'm still going for chief and cross and all. Then, then there are many cases. Okay, there are lot and lot of cases. So this thing is very important. Before I finish, I'll just say that 4 things that we work on is very important. We always focus on, don't treat a disease when you have the disease. You should take care of yourself so that you don't have the disease. The first is prevention. So now I work extensively in Bengal, extensively. And what I do, we don't go and say कि NGO आया काम किया चला गया. No, we empower communities because you have to solve your own problem. By the time NGOs comes, you don't know what happens. The first is prevention. Prevention's ka first thing is that we do a lot of outreach. We have created anti-trafficking clubs. We have done these village vigilance committees. So first thing is prevention. That is one of the primary things to prevent trafficking. Then comes protection. Extreme convictions. The reason trafficking mein kuch nahi hota hai because one person is trafficking. Like for example, if I have stolen something and you don't catch me, I'll steal again and again, right? So that is how trafficking is increasing because there is no conviction. That is prosecution. Kuch nahi hota, no conviction. Still for the cases that I've rescued in 11, 12, I'm still going. In one of the cases, there will be judgment, the girl died by suicide. Because she could not take the stigma and the trauma. So that is one problem. So prosecution is very important. Next is protection. The government has the role, to see, a lot of us here realize what is mental health issues, right? Most of the problem is not physical health, okay? It's mental health. But who talks about mental health? People have any disease, khasi, bukhar, they go, no? Paisa kharch karne ke liye. How many people go to counselors? No, none of us. Because wo dikhta nahi hai na, invisible problem hai na. So it's very, very important that the government take care of it. That is the main reason that a lot of traffic survivors still go back to the place because there is no mental health healing happening. There is no rehabilitation. Humko lagta hai, what is rehabilitation? What do you think? Rehabilitation mane ghare ashbe biye kore debo. That is not rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is a holistic development where you take care of her mental health, give her employment, tell her to do different kind of therapies. That's important. So protection is very important. Next is partnerships. One very challenging thing, nobody wants to work together. Everybody wants to work by themselves. No, my work will be stolen. It applies to in journalism also. 5 journalists call me, madam, आप उसको ये मत बताना, आपने मेरे को कहानी दे दिया. Same with my sector also. Like you don't tell, we can't work together. Funds will be divided. So there are multiple layers. So because there is no partnership, that is why there is so much of problem. And we are not able to still prevent the crime. This is what we do. You can read. Always remember one thing. If you are applying for abroad any studies, this is a survivor, okay? I'll finish it off with this survivor. This survivor was 12-year-old, okay? And she was trafficked by her own aunt. We rescued her. We told the father not to get her married. He married her off. She has 2 kids now. And the husband does everything, okay? Ganja, charas, everything he does. And now the girl is being threatened to take the case because it's relative, no? So imagine her condition. This is the situation. This is a video I will show you, okay? This is a video of one rescue. I can't show you all. Rescue will not get sleep, okay? It's very triggering. We broke a tunnel in Delhi red light area and 8 girls were taken out. I'll just show you. साउंड ना থাকলে কোনো ব্যাপার না
लेकिन यहाँ उसे बिठा दिया गया दिल्ली के बदनाम जीबी रोड के कोठे पर और टीवी इंडिया और दिल्ली पुलिस की क्राइम ब्रांच
I'll send you this video, you can say. Just see now for now. So this is one of the places. Okay, I can't show you all the places because mostly are under investigation. So we have rescued girl from a baksa like this to a, you know, those अरे जो टंकी सिंटेक्स का टंकी होता है, to the syntax का टंकी से we have rescued. We have broken bed का, what you call, mattress. We have got from under bed. We have got from like this parda. There is, so basically in one rescue there was this girl. She was sealed in the udar, and there was a calendar. So we had to actually hit. So I will send you a lot of Crime Patrol episodes to sir. You will see it. So, matlab, we have rescued people from anywhere and everywhere. One rescue we did recently was for 300 children who were kept in slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse, you know, na? And since that, I have stopped eating chicken, by the way. Because for 3 hours, I was in that slaughterhouse. I'm not saying that I am a non-vegetarian, complete non-vegetarian, but I'm just saying that I've seen extreme crimes. Extreme crimes, and not girls, okay, boys. Boys in diamond factories to garment factory. हम कितना कपड़े पहनते हैं ना? We do. Fast fashion, you know, we are so crazy about all these brands, no? H&M and all of this. You will not believe the exploitation that goes behind those brands. Because we are always crazy about big designers के कपड़े ना. Designer तो front पे है, पीछे who works? Children. Because you don't have to pay them, you don't have to give them any wage, you don't have to give food. So you will see a lot of wage, starting from the bindi we wear, to the watch, to every product that we consume has labor of vulnerable children behind. That doesn't mean that we will not wear clothes. No. But we have to be very mindful about, you know, jeans, the jeans that we wear, the tons of water and chemical that is used behind those jeans. And I have seen children, but I don't want to say what happens to these children because it will be triggering for you all. It's not right. I couldn't have sold you all the videos. Trust me, you would not have got sleep. I am just telling you so that, you know, when you see anything around you, just be a little bit aware. Matlab, you don't have to be an activist like me. You don't have to be a social worker. But, you know, we have to forget this approach of, you know, horse. Ki mera life hai, it doesn't care me. It doesn't affect me. Why I am telling you, it is hitting your neighbor tomorrow, yesterday, it will hit you one day. And it has happened because there was this very senior officer who used to tell me, hey, all this trafficking, what nonsense. And then his own, sister's daughter went missing to Dehradun, and we had to rescue her. So it is very easy to say that, you know, mere saath nahi hota, so it doesn't affect me. Just be a little bit alert, and of course, putting your own safety into consideration. Don't, if you want to be anonymous, please be anonymous. But if you see something wrong, please report it. That's very, very crucial. And don't think that, you know, you can only do something only by starting an NGO or working with an NGO. You have the biggest thing that you can do is the pen. So many things you can do. We use so much of social media, right? But why not use it constructively? I remember so many girls I have rescued have been trafficked through social media, through Snapchat. दिखती कुछ है, अपना फिल्टर करके गोरा बना लिया, पतला बना लिया, फिर ट्रैफिक हो गई, फिर ट्रैफिकर बोल रहे अरे तुम तो गोरी दिख रही थी, तुम्हें तो अनेक फस्सा छिले, এখন তো তুমি काला. You get it? This is what I've seen, you know, reality. Girls telling me, boys, there was this friend of mine, before I finish I'll tell you this story. Boys, all the boys, if you are chatting with anybody in videos, please be very careful. I get a video in my Facebook Messenger where one boy's photo and some private part photos was attached. Immediately I realized that this is a mess. I called up my friend. I'm like, did you talk to any girl? He's like, no. I said, listen, I have got a video. I know you talked to that girl. He was like, I used to talk to that girl. But I know that the other video is wrong. So what now in social media scamming is happening, if a boy is talking to any girl, and if the person you know that person is unknown to you, they are attaching the videos and blackmailing you. Actually, this girl was blackmailing my friend, saying 5 lakh rupees de do. That is one thing. Second, that is happening with a lot of boys is, they are told that a girl makes you fall in love with them in social media, and then they will say that, you know, I'm stuck in immigration. Please give me some lakh rupees. So all the boys here, please be a little bit aware. Attachment, infatuation, love, everything. food, clothing, shelter, we have body needs, everything accepted. But please be a little bit mindful. That is just what I want to tell to all of you. I think I'm done. Anybody has any questions? I think too much of information.
I follow Pallavi very closely on her LinkedIn also. So ওখানে আমি দেখলাম 2 সপ্তাহ আগে পল্লবী লিখেছে একটা রেস্কিউ করে আসার পর she was going through so much of mental trauma that she had to undertake counseling herself. ঠিক আছে? So it's not an easy job. মানে by no means. তোমাদের কাছে যদি কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকে, ইনফ্যাক্ট ও আজকে আসার পরে আমরা বসে কথা বলছিলাম আমাদের পড়শি দেশ বাংলাদেশে এখন যা ঘটছে, one of the biggest fallout would be trafficking, because people will flee borders and they will flee without any security, without knowing what their future is, and a lot of people are waiting. পল্লবী তুমি যদি এটা নিয়ে একটু বলো, মানে without going into details much যেটা বললে।
Okay, so I have been getting a lot of calls since what happened yesterday. All the border forces are put on high alert. So mostly note that, we all have IDs, right, in our own country. And we don't realize the importance of being a national of a country. It is the biggest asset that we have in a legal country. So you cannot imagine the number of people that are coming from our neighboring country to our country, whatever, for seeking asylum, refugee and everything. And huge number of people are being trafficked. Imagine just yesterday this incident happened, and since yesterday entire night I was getting calls, even in morning I was getting calls. So, and most vulnerable are girls, young girls, so I am just trying to tell all of you that you work so much in this sector. All of you, please note that if we are thinking that it's happening in Israel, it doesn't affect me, it affects you, because we are dependent on import and export. Recession is coming, it will affect your family, your father, your brother, everybody. So what we can do is that at least not use social media. A lot of the trafficking is happening because of the wrong usage of social media. So many people have instigated violence that now the minorities there are running. I don't know if actually everything that has been stated in the media is true. So the reason sir told you to tell me is because now a lot of people are running, and once they come to another country, they will be tried under the Immigration Act, okay? They will be not tried, they will be not looked at in a very easy way. So to everybody out here, just one request: use social media, post photos, but please note, Facebook was created by Mark Zuckerberg to talk to his friends. But nowadays, hardly we talk to our friends. We are just posting about our life updates. I don't have any problem if you do that, but please note, once one thing is out in the media, it's gone. I had to actually take out one of my very good known acquaintances' child's photo from a pornographic site, because the child used to play all those games, and one soft porn, we have so much of soft porn coming out, that had grabbed the child's picture, and the child's photo was circulating in the child pornographic site. Finally, we had to tell the parent, please don't give phones to your children. We give our phone to our children, no. And please do not share any private picture to anyone, even if it is your childhood sweetheart, boyfriend, love, anything. Please be careful. This end-to-end encryption is absolutely crap. Nothing is there. Once anything is out in media, is out. You will have no control. You don't know where your photo is circulated, who is doing what, how people is blackmailing. Applied to all genders, not boys and girls, even LGBTQI. Transgenders are also trafficked, highly trafficked, but it's underreported. So that is just what I want to tell all of you.
Acha, now I would request
Okay, one thing, I think, what is your name? Huh? Okay, so one thing Jumurdi told me that, to tell you about ethical journalism, the first thing that you need to do is that whenever you report, is talk about the issue. Talk about the issue and then talk about what a person went through. What happens with journalists, they talk about the person. Like you will see any news, no, it will not be like, this is a problem. They will immediately say, like, I will tell you about this case of, about this case. So it was reported that finally I had to put it down. One journalist reported that a girl I rescued from Pune used to be sexually exploited 25 times a day for 5 years. Tell me, if a person is exploited 25 times a day for 5 years, will she be alive? What that journalist thought, why did he post it, I have no idea. And there was no fact check done. So that also put a questions on your reporting. Can you imagine that image? He got views and sensations and everybody was sharing. Like 500 sharing, 300 sharing, like that I saw. When I called him up, I asked him, did you actually internalize what you were reporting? So my thing is, if you're reporting about trafficking, no. Report about the severity of the crime. Report about the issue. Then say that this particular person was trafficked and she faced something. The problem is that, and I will not blame you guys also, every newspaper or channel is associated with some profit-making agencies or political parties or whatever. So they also tell you, and always work with a channel where you feel your voice is given importance. If they modify your article, that is when the problem will start. That is the reason journalism is taken a backseat in our country. Journalists are paid less. Whereas journalists should be paid more in our country, but they are paid less. Because ethical journalism is not followed. And there are some news channels, I don't want to name them, but they are all just propagandas. So I have a, 10 things of ethical journalism. I'll give it to them. They will perhaps explain to you. See, money is important in life. I don't deny that. But it should not be at the cost of somebody else's life. That you all should remember. Because one of the channel in India right now is paying the highest in the country. And the person who worked in the channel reaches out to me every day telling me that, I'm not getting a job anywhere because I have worked in this channel. They have paid me so much, but they have killed that humanity and ethical journalist inside me. I joined as a fresher and now I regret why I joined, because all the news I have reported and all the people I have met when the news was covered, they trusted me, they told their story, and I exploited it. And I exploited it so much that right now I can't face them. So you will work in a journalistic house for some time, no, but you will finally leave, right? Contacts are very important in journalism, okay, remember. So never spoil contacts. And never spoil the story of the person about whom you are writing. Because, I tell you, you will not get sleep. I don't know whether you agree or not. All the journalists who have twisted stories tell me they never get sleep. Because they are like, humne to sach kaha hi nahi na. We're told about lies. So anyways, thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi. We can't thank you enough for sparing time and at such a critical point. Can I request Jhumur and Shima to please come and felicitate Jhumur দিচ্ছে gift. Can I now request Shoikot, Shushmita, ma'am, the faculties to all come and we'll have a group photo.